Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer and welcome to a new video. I'm doing some painting today, and while I'm waiting for some paint to dry, I've been pondering on this piece right here. This is a sci-fi bit of terrain that I 3D printed. I will try to hunt this down and put a link in the video description so that if you like it, you can go find the file. I honestly can't remember where I got it, and I apologize if you're one of the creators. I love this piece. I just cannot off the top of my head right now remember where it came from. Something Sector something, Sector City Sector. I'll find it for you. Anyway, I 3D printed it up, and it comes in a very dull gray. That's the color I choose. I buy gray, white, and black. Why? Because I know I'm usually going to paint these things anyway, and those are the three cheapest filament colors. When you start getting into reds and blues and yellows and stuff, the price goes up. Not much, usually $1 to $3, but you know, if you're trying to save some money and you know you're going to be painting, just paint it in gray or black. I like gray because I can paint it black if I choose to. Black filament, in my opinion, tends to hide details that you won't see. It's not that you can't lighten them up with dry brushing or something. I just prefer gray or white because I really can see it all. So anyway, I've got this piece. So first thing I did was I went and I hit it with hammered metal. I think that was the color. It's definitely dark gray metallic, but the hammer gives it this like blotchy surface. I'm not sure quite how to explain that, but the video may not be picking it up, but it looks really cool in person. But it's kind of a boring piece. It really is going to require some painting of some details and stuff like that. Typically with fantasy terrain, I don't really care about perfection. If you see flaws, there's flaws. But one of the things about sci-fi terrain that always gets me, and that's why I make a lot of my own sci-fi terrain with a laser cutter, because I want it to have nice corners, sharp edges, defining lines and things like that. I've seen a lot of terrain out there that's handmade and it looks awesome. I don't know. I think it's because I play fantasy and sci-fi, I like my sci-fi to look a little more realistic or have a lot more detail than my fantasy stuff. So for that reason, I started looking at this and thinking, you know, what could I do with it? The first thing that popped in my mind was, it looks like something should go here. And I think there was something that was meant to be 3D printed and glued there, but I couldn't find it at the time, or I didn't like it. I'm not sure. So this sort of screams for something to go in. There's also some venting. I'm calling these vents for lack of a better word. I don't know what they are. There's a lot of little details on here that if you paint them, if you don't do a really good job, they're gonna look hand painted. So when I try to bump a piece of terrain up, I tend to look for things that are already made that I can use to add detail and color if possible. So one of the things I want to do here is add some color into these smaller areas. The majority of this is going to be this hammered metal color, but where I can, I want to add color. So I started looking at this, and I realized I really do want something there. So I went into my junk box. I've got 2 junk boxes actually, full of junk. And I found this. This is a water cylinder for a spray gun, I believe. It's got cheap plastic threads. It had a seam that went up the side and over the top, which I sanded down so that if I prime it or spray paint it, it won't show. I thought that would look kind of cool there. Not purple. I don't want it purple. I want it some other color. But I didn't like the threads. And then I found this piece. This is off of an air freshener thing. I have a bunch of these. My wife gets them and I collect them, and she's like, "Do you really want these?" I'm like, "Sure, one day I'll find a use for them." Well, today I'm finding a use for it. The problem is it won't fit in there. So the first thing I need to do is to get a really sharp pair of scissors. And I gotta be careful because these are the scissors that about a year ago took off part of a finger. And I'll never forget that. So I'm just gonna cut it. There we go. Hey, that was easy. And let's see if now it'll fit. Not really. So what I can do now is I can take a blade and be very careful with the blade. And I'll try and whittle it out a little bit. Let's see what I can do here without slicing myself. All right, I'm just gonna go away from me and try to trim some of the plastic out. Just twisting and twisting and cutting plastic out a little at a time. I think that ought to do. There we go. It doesn't quite sit flat. So what I may have to do, I may have to just trim where I see it's not flat. Okay, it's right there. Just trying to, there we go. And then I could take a piece of sandpaper or a sanding block and just, oh yeah, now it should sit flat. So push that up in there. Ah, that's perfect. All right, that will be glued on here. So that's one of the tests, or one of the things I'm gonna do. The other thing I thought is, if you'll notice, there's 1, 2, 3 of these arms. I don't know what this thing is. Maybe it uses magnetic energy to heat up whatever's inside here, or process fuel. But a friend of mine, Brian, these came from Brian and Candy. Yeah, 2 friends of mine, Brian and Candy, sent me a bag of junk stuff a while back. And I found this piece in there, and I don't know, I'm debating. It looks almost like some piece should come out of here, maybe as a, I don't know, maybe as a venting, or maybe it's a nozzle where pressure's, I don't know. So this will be one of those last minute calls. So what I can do is I can line up the threads. There's four wings on this thing. I could line them up with the 3, and then I could line this up with the other one, and I think it might look kind of cool. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not gonna glue this on until after I prime it. So what I'm gonna do is glue it on, prime and paint it, and then sit it on there. And if I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, it'll go in the junk box for something else. But that was one thing I want to do. And the other thing is, you can get this plastic canvas. Some people call it granny grading. It's used for needlepoint, or is it needlepoint? It's used for needle art. So probably needlepoint. It's very flexible, it's plastic. You can cut it easy with a blade or scissors. I usually use scissors. And it comes in all kinds of colors. I've got silver, blue, red, green, and black. It does come in more colors. I know it comes in metallics like gold and copper. But you know, these are just some of the things I've caught. These are like $1 for that whole piece right there. What dimension is that? It's 10.5 inches by 13.5 inches, 26.7 centimeters by 34.3 centimeters. So it's a good size sheet, costs about $1, and it lasts forever. I mean, you can see I've taken some of my silver, my blue's almost gone. And I noticed down in here, there are these little square recesses, and I'm gonna test this. I like the blue because it's very vivid. What I'm thinking is, let me see if I can do this. So I'm gonna cut off all of the little knobs, little notches. And then I'm gonna cut a 1x2 grouping. It's very small. I don't know if you can see that. And I wanna see if that'll fit in there. No, it will not. But you know what will, is one of them. It gets tricky cutting these things very, very small. Just a single one down in there. See, I couldn't paint that by hand. I mean, there are probably some people out there that could, but I couldn't. But just the perfection of the square and the bright vivid blue, if I drop a glue and put one of these in all the ones around, it's just a little pop of color that breaks up the drab metallic gray, and I think it'll look cool. So that's another thing I'm gonna do. So I'll put that over here with this. Right here along the top edge, there are 4 of these. They look almost like They look like light should be coming from within them. The problem is this is not hollow. It doesn't come hollow. So there's no way to insert LEDs. I mean, I guess I could drill holes and stuff, but you risk messing it up. And there's probably ways, some of you probably know ways in some of the applications to hollow out 3D models. I haven't gone that deep into it yet. So without being able to add interior lights, I have to brighten this up as best I can. I saw this ridge here and I thought maybe a red line of this with the spikes might provide some interest. Let's see. I don't know if you can see this, but you know, gluing it like that, oh, it almost perfectly covers the little gridded system. I think it would look interesting. Yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. So then what I do is I put it on here. I cut off the end here, so I always am doing an even number, and I can just count 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, and see how many it's going to take to cover this thing. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I will cut 11 off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll cut it there. Place it on there, make sure, verify. Oh yeah, that's gonna look cool. And again, it's just the perfect nature of it that I like. It's the fact that if I tried to paint this by hand, it would fail miserably. So I'm not going to. I'm going to allow something that's already been made, this plastic material, and hope that it will give me that that look I'm going for. Let me see if I can cut that this way. Yeah. All right, so I need 11, so I'll cut off the notch so I know where I'm starting. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Cut there, and now I have 2 of them. And just verify, I got it. Yep. So I'll need 4 of those. And I'll need 2, 4, 6, 8 of the blues. So that does. And as I continue looking around, up here at the top is this, it looks like a crystal or some mechanical wheel. There's 2, 4, 6 of those. I don't have anything that would fit that, but somewhere, and I'm not gonna go look for it right now, somewhere I have those little sticky beads, or they're almost like diamonds, you know, they come in different colors, and I think people stick them on crafts. I'm hoping I can find a circular one small enough that I could glue it onto the center here, just a little bit more color. Now, over time, the one thing I have learned about making terrain is the secret is knowing when to stop. So I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna go and prime this, glue this on first, and then I'm gonna cut these out and glue them on, and we'll see how it looks. And then if I find that I need more, we'll go with more. So hang tight. You won't have to watch. I'll just edit the video, and this should have the rest of these items done. I'll be right back.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.
All right, I told you the secret is knowing when to stop. I don't think I'm ready to stop yet. Let me show you where I'm at so far. So I've glued on the little blues and reds, and because they're not painted, because they are made of, you know, material, plastic that I've cut cut with scissors, everything looks, you know, to me it just looks more precise than if I had hand painted some of this stuff. I also glued some of these, I mentioned to you these little, you know, sequins or whatever they call rhinestones. I had to super glue them on. I had to use my mask because I'm allergic, but I got those super glued on. And while I'm happy with it, I'm not happy with this yet. I like the color, but I'm gonna have to do some other stuff to it. It's gonna look good. It's just not done yet. But while I was looking at it, I noticed inside the curved part here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. There's 5 dots, and they look like you would put paint in them, but I think that they would look I think they would be, well, I think they'd be difficult to paint without smearing it or wiping it away on the gray. So I think what I want to do is I want to glue on some of these yellow ones. These have a sticker on the back, so you can sort of temporarily stick them and see how they look. And I think they're gonna look good. You know, your taste and mine may be different, but I could see the yellows going around. And I think that is where I'm gonna stop on this device. Now I will be doing some painting down in the parts here to make that look like it's a vent. And I may do something to these lines. I haven't decided yet. But I think my last thing to actually physically change or add to is gonna be those yellows in between. Now this piece right here looks like it's supposed to be a solenoid of some sort. So I may choose to put some actual wires down in there. I don't know, some cabling. We'll see. Let me get those yellows put on, and then I'll make the decision as to whether or not I should call it stop. All right, here is the final object. I ultimately decided not to go with this. I couldn't get it to match the style, you know, with all the little sub detail. This thing's just too smooth. Even the little things on the ends just didn't look right. The sanding of it, I'd have to coat this thing with so much paint to cover that up. I just decided to leave it alone. So what I did was I went ahead and got some orange paint and painted inside these, they're almost like furnaces, like they're generating heat. I also hit all of the rivets with a little gold dot of paint, just for a little bit of something different. But this is where I stop. I mean, I could keep going. You know, I could deal with this center part here, and maybe later I'll come and glue some wires in there to simulate like tubing. But right now, I want to play with it. I want it to be on the game table so that miniatures can be around it. And even though I don't know what it is, it looks cool. And again, all these little add-ons, I think just, they look, you know, not painted. They look like they belong there. So I hope you like it. I've got some more to do. I've got a whole bunch that are in this, this theme or this collection of STLs. And I will try to find the name of this collection for you and put it in the video description. But I've got a few more of these to do. So when I do them, when I upgrade them, so to speak, I will be sure to take some video and share that with you. All right, everybody, take care.